Hello everyone and a warm welcome to another Cognigy.AI tech update. Today we will again take you on a tour through the most exciting product updates that we have introduced in the past 3 months. For those chiming in for the first time, I'm new Senior Product Marketing Manager at Cognigy and your host for today's session. Joining me here are our product owners and managers who will share with you their expert insights into our latest tech developments. It's going to be a jam-packed session and it's going to be a good one. Just some housekeeping items before we get started. You will remain in listen-only mode throughout the session, but we highly encourage interaction. So please use the Q&A panel on the right-hand side to submit your questions or simply share your thoughts and feedback. If we can't get to you today, rest assured you will hear from us within a few days. You will also receive a link to the webinar recording afterward. Now let's begin with an overview of our last quarter's activities. Over 6 releases, we rolled out 77 platform updates covering 19 new features and 58 are the enhancements. Key areas of focus include GenAI Knowledge AI, Webchat v3, voice features, and live agent. So obviously, we will dive into these topics in the next hour. But before we jump into those juicy product demos, which I absolutely love, I'd like to highlight an important update, and that is Cognigy's Webchat v3 has been tested and validated for accessibility and inclusivity. In the past months, we underwent a rigorous and independent audit to ensure product usability for all user groups, especially people with disabilities and the elderly. Our accessibility conformance is fully documented using Voluntary Product Accessibility Template, also known as VPAT. Essentially, this report outlines how Webchat v3 complies with different criteria defined in their Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, more specifically their VCAG 2.2 Level AA standards. I'm not going to get into the weeds here, but to quickly summarize, the main capabilities include support for alternative content when it comes to rich media output like videos, audio, and images. For example, you can ensure that videos always come with captions or alternative text is available for all images. Then there is also compatibility with accessibility devices such as screen readers and the ability to navigate without having to use a mouse, so typically keyboard navigation. We will demonstrate some of these accessibility enhancements shortly, so stay tuned. Eventually, by achieving accessibility conformance, our goal is to help you as Cognigy customers deliver inclusive web chat experiences for all, which not only enhance customer satisfaction and loyalty, but also facilitate regulatory and CSR compliance. And to demonstrate the last point, an example I want to highlight is that the European Accessibility Act, EAA, will take effect in June 2025, and it will significantly impact industries operating in and selling within the EU. EAA mandates accessibility for a wide range of products and services, including online experiences like websites and mobile apps. So with the new VPAT report, we want to play our part in proactively helping you navigate this dynamic regulatory landscape. EAA is one prominent example in the EU, but their accessibility topic is of course pertinent in all other geographical regions where the local regulations apply. The VPAT report is now available on request in our Trust Center, and detailed product documentation for WebChat accessibility setup will also be available soon. Alright, let's get to the more exciting part that you've been waiting for, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce our product owners and managers who will dive into the specific topics of today's tech update. Since we are already talking about WebChat, why not continuing the momentum? Merlin, Cognigy's product owner, will take it from here. He will demonstrate our latest accessibility enhancements included in the VPAT report, alongside new features like Enriched Metadata for better personalization. Plus, Merlin will guide us through some major improvements in agent creation and deployment. Over to you, Merlin.
All right. Thank you, Nu, for the introduction. I'm Merlin, product owner at Cognigy and responsible for Webchat and Endpoint integration. First thing I want to talk about with you today is the official release of Webchat v3. As you may have noticed, we had different phases in 2024. We had the preview and the beta phase. And now in late August, we officially released Webchat version 3. As a direct consequence of this, we are deprecating Webchat in version 2 in 2026. So we highly encourage all of our customers to migrate to the newer version. To simplify this decision a little bit for you, I have brought some features we released in the last quarter. The first feature I want to show you is the accessibility feature. So as new already introduced, we have some improvements in accessibility. For this, I go over to my Webchat application, start the conversation, and type accessibility in a Webchat, because that's the use case I want to talk about. As you can see, we have your audio file here sent from the agent, and we have a video file. As a not impaired user, I can just listen to the audio file and just play the video and listen to it. But there are some people who rely and prefer written information instead of audio files. So for them, we included a download transcript button, which basically just downloads the transcript inside of your file system, which you then can just open, and you have the transcript ready here to read. And you have the exact same information as all of the other people do. Exactly the same function we have at videos. You can download the transcript right here and open it. And you'll also see a transcript of the video. One more slightly improvement we have in the video is that we can provide captions from now on. So if I hit the three-dot menu right here, you can see a possibility to provide a caption. Germany, it's an Untertitel because my browser is German. So if I click on this, you can see there's a right here in the middle of the video, and I can just search for some text. And as you can see, a caption is displayed. What I want to emphasize about these functions is that they will only be displayed if you provide the necessary information beforehand. So if I go over to my flow editor and look at these nodes, that's the audio node, that's the video node, I can edit them, and on this little pen here, I have audio alternate text field, which is filled right now. And if I delete this text, I'll do the same for the video. Video alternate text and video captions URL, which can be provided in VTT or STT format. And just delete, hit done, hit save node, refresh my chat, start the conversation, go for the accessibility use case again. And as you can see, all of the buttons are gone. We only display what is necessary for the customer and what is accessible. So that really streamlines the Webchat application. All right, that's it for accessibility. The next feature I want to show to you is the metadata feature. So if I hit metadata inside of my Webchat here, that's the next use case. I am asked, what can I help you with? So I want to book a flight in this use case. And the Webchat asks me, I see you are located in Germany. Would you like to change to German for our conversation? If I hit yes, we are talking in German from now on, and the conversation continues in German. So how are we doing this? For that, I need to show you the settings of our endpoint in Webchat v3. So if I check Webchat behavior here, we have a new setting which says collect metadata. This is on default, it's off, but you can turn it on. We have a tooltip here. By enabling this option, you will collect additional data from your customer, such as language, location, device, and browser type. You can then use this data within your flow. And that's exactly what we did here. So to show you this, I'm just going to drag another window up here because I prepared another Webchat. This is a Webchat where you can basically hit inspect and then choose the user ID to go inside the flow, inside of your interaction panel, and follow exactly this chat in the interaction panel. So we got some information what is happening in the background of the chat. So if I go back now to my chat here and hit start conversation and hit metadata in here, we have exactly the same use case, but we can see in the interaction panel what is happening. And there is a little bubble up here, which is saying metadata. And there you can see all of the metadata that is gathered and extracted from the browser of the customer. So we have the browser type, the browser version, for example, the operating system, and we have the geolocation, which is derived from the IP address. So for me, we have the country Germany right here, which I then use inside of the flow to have an if condition based on that. So if this exists, we will go this way and ask the customer if he wants to talk in German. And that's just one of the use cases that you can think about with all of this data. There's a lot more which you can do. So that's what I want to show you with the metadata feature. And I'll just hit endpoints again. Here to show you the last feature for a Webchat application today before heading over to the next section. This feature is about live agent avatar and name. And for that, I want to have a fresh instance of a demo Webchat. Because I want to demonstrate the conversation going from a user to a live agent, I want to have the Webchat on the left side and a live agent application on the right side. As a user, I can now start the conversation, type something like hand over, because that's the use case I want to demonstrate. And we can see that an AI agent is welcoming us here with a name and a default avatar. I can type something like, I want to talk to a real person, please. As you can see, we're performing the handover in real time, so that the live agent can now enter the conversation. He can say something like, how can I help you today? As you can see on the left side, we are indicating that someone is typing. When I hit enter, the message is sent, and you can see that the agent switched. So we have a live agent avatar and a live agent name right here. I really like this feature because it adds a personal touch to the web chat. We have a visual distinction between an AI agent and a live agent, and the agent can decide on their own what they want to display and how they want to appear in the web chat. I can show you this right now. So if I go into the profile settings, I have configured an avatar and a live agent name. If I delete this and update my profile right here, and then type something as a customer again, and enter as a live agent, we can see that the fallback has taken place. So this is a fallback avatar and a fallback name. You should know this setting because we configured it in the endpoint settings. When I head over to endpoint settings and the web chat layout, we can see that the human agent avatar name and the human agent avatar logo are configured here. So this is exactly what's displayed in the web chat. So that's it for this feature. The next update I want to give you is in the context of endpoint. We recently integrated with NICE CXone to seamlessly connect our AI agents with the NICE CXone platform. As you can see, these are the settings provided in the Endpoint Integration tab. I won't go into too much detail on this because we have a really nice and comprehensive documentation on this, providing all the necessary information on settings and how to set up everything. So please make sure to check this out. So for the next really helpful feature, I want to head over to my flowchart editor, maximize the window and open it directly. Because the following information is only living inside of the interaction panel because it's meant to debug your flow. So if I type debugging in here, I want to access this flow I built. You have some say notes, an HTTP request, getting facts about cats, and an LLM prompt getting facts about dogs. So something is not happening right here because I don't get the facts about cats. So I want to see what is happening behind the curtains of this flow. And for that, I need to enable the debug mode. I have two options here. I can go into the settings tab and activate the debug mode here. We can also select, I want to activate the debug mode full, or I can just hit inside of this menu, the three-dot menu up here. So now what is happening? We can see more information about what is happening behind the curtains of the flow. So first of all, we have an intent match of debugging, which is a pretty solid score of 1 because it's exactly the same word. Then we have the tell me a fact about cats, say note, and then we have an HTTP request. So as you can see here, we have an HTTP request error. Something is not happening, or something is not working correctly. So now I can just jump through this hyperlink here, inside the HTTP request node. And if I look closely, you can see that I have a typo here. When building flows, mistakes and typos are absolutely natural and will happen. So you always need some information what is happening inside of your flow. Once we're here, we can also inspect error handling and logging. So I have different options of error logging. I can don't log errors, or I can full log errors. I can abort the flow execution when an error happens, and I can have different options on debug mode logging, as you can see here. So if I save this node again, enter the flow again, we will see that the HTTP request is working correctly and we get response with a fact about cats. Working our way downwards, we can see that the LLM prompt did work all the time. And we have a request and completion debug information. So we also have an estimation on how many tokens have been used for this request and also for the completion. If I go to the LLM prompt setting, I have the debug settings right here, where I can configure these possibilities. You also have the possibility to configure debug messages when you want to output something very specific. So I really encourage you to check out documentation about this, because the debug mode is very extensive and there is comprehensive documentation about this in our docs section. Please check this out. And now, to conclude my part in this tech update, I want to show you one of my personal highlights for the last quarter. So I head back to the flowchart editor, close the interaction panel, and zoom a little bit out. As you can see, this is a flow I built just for the tech update. So flows can get really big, really fast, as you might know. When I want to snap a picture of this using the snipping tool from Windows, you cannot read anything because the resolution is too low. So that's why we introduced this little function down here, camera symbol, which is creating an image from the CSS and HTML information. So I can download this right here, or just click open in a new tab and zoom into this image. As you can see, everything is readable in this flow. So now I can paste this image wherever I want, PowerPoint, Miro, or wherever, and collaborate with my peers. With that said, that's it from my side. Thank you for participation, have fun exploring, and back to you, Lou.
Thank you, Merlin, for the great updates. I have to say I find SafeFlow as image and advanced debug extremely handy. Up next, we are having a few voice and live agent updates brought to you by Dilek, our Group Product Manager. Dilek, take it away.
Thanks, Neil. Hi, everyone. I'm Dilek, Group Product Manager here at Cognigy. Today, I'm going to show you our Q3 highlights for Voice Gateway and Live Agent. Let's start with Voice Gateway. As you might be aware, Microsoft has new multilingual voices, which you can use to ensure that you have the same voice for different languages. All of them are already available within our set session config node, activity parameters, as well as in our Voice Gateway portal. Additionally, we have a new 11 Labs integration. 11 Labs just came out with their Turbo V2.5 model. And the main difference here to the Turbo V2 model is that before they were only supporting English, and now they have support for around 31 languages. And of course, again, with minimal latency. All of this is also available in our set session config node, the activity parameters, and our voice gateway portal. When it comes to recognizing speech, we also have made some changes in our DeepGram integration after actually talking to DeepGram to ensure that you guys get the best of their product as well. Therefore, we have limited the utterance and milliseconds parameter to make sure that we have the best DeepGram integration. The last topic for Voice Gateway is actually a toggle that we have added for the user no input timeout feature. And now you might think, okay, why does she talk about a toggle? It's just something to enable and disable the user no input timeout. I did want to mention this because for this, you need to be really careful how you actually use it. Of course, you can now, as you can see, enable and disable the toggle, but you need to use it a bit more carefully to basically ensure that you're not stuck in a loop, especially when you use question nodes, because we will not have the input timeout anymore. So our recommendation is always to enable the user no input timeout, but of course, this always depends on your use case and your customer behavior. Now, let's jump into live agent improvements, and I have prepared a flow for this. So usually we talk about how we improve the human agent's work environment. We have that as well. That will just come later on. But right now, I want to concentrate on a feature we actually built for the end customers. So we have added support for queue updates. This basically means queue position and estimated wait time. So these now can be displayed to the customer so they are aware how long they need to wait until they actually get connected to a human agent instead of waiting with basically no indication of what's going on. So if we now look into the flow, I basically just added a question node asking if you want to get forwarded to a human agent. Then we have our handover to agent node. And in here, we have all of the magic happening. So within the handover to agent node, you need to go to the live agent section, and then you need to scroll down. Here you will find 3 new options. You have the get queue position, get estimated wait time, and alternative updates. If you enable the get queue position option, you can basically set up the interval. This is basically the indication of how often your customers should receive an update. Basically, this is for the queue position. And we have set a minimum value of 30 seconds, as we also do not want to spam the customers with position updates. Once you enable the estimated wait time, you can actually find the same field in here because everything I just said, of course, is also valid for the estimated wait time. Then we have alternative updates, and this is basically the interesting part. If you have high traffic, you of course do not want to show your customer that they need to wait for like 15 minutes or that they're in, I don't know, queue position 42. Therefore, we have added the alternative updates, and in here, you can define the maximum queue position, maximum estimated wait time, and once this value is actually reached, the alternative text can be sent out as an update instead of the actual queue position and estimated wait time. Now let's look into how this is being configured. After the handover to agent node, I have added a lookup node, and within the lookup node, we choose the handover status as a type. And then in the child node, we choose queue, because of course you only want to output the queue updates during the queue time. Then we have added a say node to output the queue position and the estimated wait time. To have everything as granular as possible, we are actually saving the estimated wait time in milliseconds. And as you can see on my screen right now, I have divided this through 1,000 to output it in seconds. Of course, this is again up to you how granular you would actually like to show the estimated wait time to your customers. Before I actually start the chat, let me enable our live follow feature so I can show you later on how you can actually get the right values to put in your say node to use Cognigy script. Now let me open my web chat and let's start a conversation. So as you can see now, we have outputted the queue position and the estimated wait time. Now let's quickly get back to our flow. And as we use the live follow feature, we will now be able to actually see the queue position and estimated wait time in our input object. So if you now scroll down until you actually see the handover and queue position and estimated wait time section, just right click on the queue position and copy the JSON path. If you now copy this into your say node, you basically add curly brackets around it, you have the right Cognigy script to actually display the queue position. Of course, you can then also do the same with the estimated wait time, or actually any other value within our input object, as well as in the context. Before we now jump into further live agent improvements, there is actually one spoiler I need to give. Today, I basically showed you how you can set up the flow to display the values through the say node. And this will actually be needed, especially if you're still using Webchat version 2. For Webchat version 3, we will display this natively within the Webchat in a really nice layout. So you do not need to add the say node in the future. You will only need to enable the feature in the handover to agent node and then enable it in the Webchat v3 endpoint settings if you want to display this natively or not. This should be added into the Webchat v3 in one of the upcoming releases. Now, when it comes to Live Agent, let's go into one of our conversations. And on the right side, you can see that I have the contact details open. We have added a feature, or better, a toggle to display or hide the empty profile fields so agents can have a quicker overview, especially if you have multiple custom fields. Whenever the agent actually clicks on edit, all available fields will then be displayed and the values can be changed. So let's change Germany to Frankfurt. And this will result in seeing the new values within Live Agent, and it will be changed within the contact profile in Cognigy.AI as well. Now let's actually empty the location field. And as we do not display empty fields right now, you are not seeing the location anymore. But of course, you can always toggle it on. Then the last topic I want to talk about is actually a frequently asked question that I've received during this quarter quite a lot. And that's basically, how do I know which live agent session matches to which Cognigy.AI session? So basically, what you can do in the UI is you can filter for the Cognigy session ID and also for the Cognigy user ID. And of course, we also have these values within our live agent OData collection. And then you can match it with the right conversation that you can find within the Insights OData collection. And I really hope this clarifies all of the questions on how you can now match the conversations. And yeah, with that, I will say back to you, Nu.
Amazing. Thank you, Dilek. Really love the new TTS choices and the queue update in Live Agent. Coming up next, Sergey, Cognigy's product owner, will walk us through major GenAI and Knowledge AI enhancements, including expanded LLM integrations, as well as image file support and improved search filtering in Knowledge AI. Over to you, Sergey.
Thanks, Niu. Hello, everyone. Sergey is here. Today, I'm going to present a couple of features we've been working recently. I'm going to start with Amazon Bedrock. We have integrated with this platform, and now you have access to a variety of different models from different providers. You can have a list on our official Cognigy documentation or AWS documentation as well. Let's talk about how to integrate Amazon Bedrock. First of all, you need to choose a model based on some options we have here. Let's start with base models, and you can choose by model family, provider, or modality, up to your business goals. Then you need to decide in which region you're located and you want to use models from these regions because they are region specific. For example, in the US, you have more models available. In Europe, you have less a little bit. I'm now located in Europe. I want to avoid some latency issues. That's why I decided to choose EU Central 1. Please note this name. We're going to need this one later in the integration. And now we need to have access to some models. Some of them are restricted for my account. Here you can see the note that model does not currently have access. You can check the model which you have access specifically, or ask your AWS administrator, or grant the access to yourself if you are the administrator. So we're going to target to Claudio 3 Haiku. And yeah, please note that some models are not supported by current integration. We currently supporting only Converse API models. And let me check for Haiku. So Haiku is here, Claudia 3. And yes, it is supporting Converse API, so we can proceed with that. Now, when we decided on model, so that's going to be Claudia 3 Haiku, I'm going to copy the model name here. And the last thing you're going to need is actually security credentials. But since this process is highly dependent on how you actually owning the AWS account, could be organization or personal use and so on and so forth. So that's why it's highly dependent, and I'm not going to go into details here. The only thing I should mention, though, is that you need AWS access key ID and secret access key. You can ask your AWS administrator to provide this one to be able to integrate. Now let's go to interface and create a new LLM model. Again, name it after the name of the model, just to have it organized. Then I'm going to choose AWS Bedrock, provider, and custom model. And here I'm going to paste the model name, which we copied from the interface. Now let's set up a connection. I'm going to name it Amazon Bedrock, and here I'm going to paste access key ID and secret access key. Just give me a minute. All right, let's save it. Oh, yeah, for sure, I forgot EU Central 1 region. And let's save it and test. The test was successful, and now let's go to flows and check if the prompt is working correctly. For this, you're gonna need LLM prompt and CNode. Don't forget to point on a specific language model. In our case, it's gonna be Atropic Claudia 3 Haiku. Save the node, then you can actually start chatting with GPT. Let's ask something interesting about Cognigy. Here we go. We are connected and can use any model provided by Amazon Bedrock. Next, I'm going to talk about upgrade to the new GPT models. We have added support of GPT-4o and GPT-4o Mini. We strongly recommend you to upgrade to these models. Some of the old ones going to be deprecated soon, so please make sure that you're not using them as a custom one. Also, we have added support of new text embedding models to Knowledge.AI. Those models are text embedding 3 large and text embedding 3 small. We recommend to upgrade to the new versions only in case if you have some problems with retrieval quality. Otherwise, we suggest to use TextAdder 2. New models have limited availability around the globe, also has some latency problems, and maybe cost more. Next, we also added support of new file types in Knowledge.AI. Now you can use images with text to add some information into knowledge stores. Let me show you the usage of the image. It's really easy. Right now, I'm going to show you how easy to work with images in Knowledge.AI. I'm going to create a new knowledge store, name it image, then create a new knowledge source. I'm going to use a file type and then upload a file, which is a simple image with text about Cognigy.AI. Right now, we're going to wait a little bit to finish the processing of the file. The processing has finished, and now I'm going to show you that this file has been chunked in 2 chunks. Let's go to flow. I've created a search extract output flow, and now we need to point to the correct knowledge store, which is going to be an image. Now let me ask something which we don't have in the file, for example, small agents. Unfortunately, I cannot answer the question. Now let me ask something which was in the file, for example, voice gateway. The voice gateway is a product that bridges telephony systems with Cognigy.AI. Great, we have correct answer. Thank you, Cognigy. And lastly, we have introduced a new way of filtering tags in search extract output node with the support of logical OR. Before that, you have opportunity only to add several tags and use AND logic to filter those knowledge sources. Now you have OR logic, and let me quickly show you how it is working. I want to demonstrate here how logic behind filtering different knowledge sources is working. So I've created a knowledge store, loaded several knowledge sources. As you may see, they have different file types, such as CTXT, docs, and PDF. I also marked it with specific tags. First one has endpoint voice copilot, the second one has endpoint voice gateway, and the last one has endpoint, Webchat, and text-based. As you may see, first tag is spread across all files, so endpoints has for any file. The voice tag is only set for CTXT and docs files, and PDF has 2 unique tags. Now let's go to the flow editor. Here you can see search extract output node. Let's make sure that it is pointing to the correct store. And let's open the search settings. Here you have a source tag and match type for source tag. Let's start with a simple one. Endpoint. I added the endpoint, and as you may recall, we have endpoint in each file. So actually doesn't matter which match type I'm going to choose, or brand. I'll save the node and try to add some sentence here. Could you share a list of native endpoints for Cognigy? As you may see, I received some answer from the knowledge source. Now let's go to Info tab and check from which knowledge sources I actually received the information. For this, you should check knowledge search tag, and it contains CTXT, PDF, and OPX formats. Now, if we would change the settings to OR, we're expecting to receive the exactly the same result. Some answer, and then we have PDF, CTXT, and docx formats. All right, let's change the tag to something else. For example, voice. As you may recall, only 2 files has voice format. And if I'm gonna put and here and put something else, and point, for example, I should expect to receive one specific combination of files. So let's check. We have CTXT and docs format only. PDF is not here anymore. Because if we would go back, I've asked specifically to search for end points and end voice. So only 2 files contain this. This one contains endpoints, but doesn't voice. So now let's get back to the logic. And we're gonna try OR. So now I am expecting that we're gonna have all 3 files. Let's check it. So CTXT, PDF, and docs as well. So basically, that's how logic behind OR and filtering is working. I want to show you a small feature we created recently. It's a source text editability. So before if you created a new knowledge source, you couldn't change the tag. But now you actually can do that. So here you can see endpoint, we can delete it, we'll add Webchat, for example, and then save it. We believe that this improvements can help you to build more intelligent solutions. Thank you for listening, and I give back the word to you. See you.
Thank you, Sergey. That was a lot to cover. But in addition to these major updates, we have also introduced a bunch of smaller GenAI improvements that you might be interested in as well. So to wrap up our GenAI topic, I will briefly walk through these. The first one is that we have extended streaming option to be available for LLM reprompt in the question node. So for those who are unfamiliar with our stream to output feature, basically it enables the prompt result to be streamed at short response snippets on the fly while it is being generated. This approach significantly reduces latency, especially when it comes to lengthy answers. For example, here I have a question node that asks the user for a zip code as a means of authentication, and I use LLM as the reprompt method to guide the user back to this main goal whenever an irrelevant answer is given. The stream to output feature, which was initially introduced for the LLM prompt node, is now also available here, and by activating this, the reprompt output is split into smaller responses, which are retrieved almost instantly, as you can see. The next improvement is also related to LLM streaming, and it aims to optimize response quality. So in streaming, we use something called stream buffer flush tokens, which might sound like a mouthful of words, but essentially these are specific markers like semicolon, colon, question mark, or full stop to identify where the LLM output should be broken down for immediate sending. The challenge is certain output formats like dates, number list, or abbreviations can contain these markers as well, which results in fragmented responses while streaming. Now we have introduced an override option for these tokens that considers specific regex patterns and ensures these output formats remain intact. We have a set of pre-configured overrides, but you can of course define your own patterns as well. Here I just show a quick example where I ask a question and the answer needs to contain a number list, and you see the format remains cohesive even though we ask the system to split the answer whenever there is a full stop. The final GenAI improvement I want to mention is the embedding model option for custom LLMs. As Sergey demoed earlier with Amazon Bedrock, and if you recall in the last tech update, with the custom model option, you can easily connect with any model from our supported vendors simply by specifying the model's name. Previously, that applied to on-chat and completion models. Now you can also configure custom embedding models for use cases like Knowledge AI and NLU enhancements. Now, to wrap up today's tech update, I want to show you a new tool we have introduced for uptime monitoring of Cognigy's SaaS environment, which is our new SaaS service health platform. Here you can see real-time and historical data on system performance and check status of individual components like insights, live agent, NLU, API, and so on. You might see that the bars are not fully green yet, but that's simply because we launched this page 2 months ago and it doesn't have access to pre-launch data. On the page, you can also look at historical uptime and past incidents, which in our case are mainly scheduled maintenances. And finally, you can subscribe to receive instant alerts on your preferred communication channels. In short, this platform aims to help you stay on top of system monitoring and maintain complete control over service continuity. Please note that the public page that I'm showing here applies to our shared SaaS environment only. For dedicated SaaS environments, the platform is available on request, so please contact your customer success manager if you want to get access to it. And that concludes today's webinar. If you want to stay in the loop on the latest Cognigy.AI releases, don't forget to check out the product update section on our website. A quick note, you can now also subscribe to get an instant email notification for every product news. To do so, simply select that first option in our newsletter form. You might also notice that you can now customize your Cognigy newsletter to receive only the content that is most relevant to you. Before you leave, I just want to give a huge shout out to our product owners and managers for taking this time to show us the amazing updates we've made in Cognigy.AI. Also, a big thank you to you for joining us today. As always, we love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in our post-webinar survey. Thanks again, everyone, and see you next time.